Hello. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Um, just popping in to share what the plan is for the week. Today, obviously, there was no school, so you had no work today. Tomorrow, Tuesday, or today if you're watching this on Tuesday, we are starting to talk about waves. Waves are our last science topic of the year. Let that sink in for a minute. We have made it to the final topic. We did it. Good job, everybody. We're going to finish out strong. We're going to spend these last couple weeks really getting some baseline information about waves and expanding our knowledge of energy transfer. It's going to be great. So on Tuesday, you're going to do some introductory work on a Go Formative. Wednesday, obviously, you have your graph of the week. Thursday, you're going to do some IXL to practice some of these wave basics, especially some of the new vocabulary that you're going to be working with. And then, per usual, no shock here. Friday, you have some catch-up time, chance to do one of the fun activities. If you missed activities from last week, if you didn't do your CER, something to work on Friday. So let's go through these quickly. So starting with the Go Formative, this is really kind of an introduction to waves. Now, when we talk about waves, there's a lot of new vocabulary to discuss the different parts of a wave, to discuss how the wave moves, discuss how frequent the wave is. But what's nice about a lot of these vocabulary words is they are similar or even the same as some words you probably already know, which is really helpful. And so a lot of these words they sound similar or they have a similar meaning. And so it tends to be it's a lot of words, but the words are usually pretty easy to think about. So I just want to take a look at some of these new words. One thing that we're going to be looking at this week is kind of the anatomy of a wave. So some of the words that we're going to be seeing are words like wavelength. Again, this is a great word. It tells us exactly what it is in the word. It's the length of the wave. Great, that's awesome. When we talk about waves, we talk about crests and troughs. These are words you may have heard before. So the crest is the top and the trough is the bottom. So that's what you probably have heard the word crest in other situations. Trough, if you think about sometimes we use it for farm animals that eat out of a trough. It's a word you've heard before. The amplitude is how tall the wave is. And again, that's another word that I feel like we've heard before, talking about volume or intensity or things like that. It translates right into the wave. The amplitude is how intense it is. And especially when we look at sound waves, it's a direct transfer. The amplitude is how loud that sound is. There are some other words as well. When we think about, so there's two types of waves. There's a transverse wave and a longitudinal wave. A transverse wave moves like this, like the wave, whereas a longitudinal wave is a wave of compression. So when we think about a longitudinal wave, it smushes and stretches the material that it's moving through. That's what sound does. So if you play a musical instrument or you've done any sort of musical study, you've probably thought about and learned about how sound waves move the air. And that's what we hear. Our eardrums will vibrate and it'll send a signal to our brain. And that's what's happening there. And so we can see that there's an area of compression where the air particles get close together. And there's an area of rarefaction where the particles get stretched out. And then finally, we have the word frequency. Again, this is a word you've heard before. I know you have. So with frequency, when it comes to waves, it's how often does the wave arrive. So we have a high frequency. There's a lot of waves in the same period of time versus a low frequency. And there's less waves in the same period of time. So how often is that wave occurring? And it corresponds with their wavelength. If you have a short wavelength, you're going to be able to fit a lot more waves in a specific area, whereas a long wavelength won't fit as many. This also correlates to sound. If you look at sound waves, a high frequency wavelength, we hear it as a higher pitched noise. A low frequency wavelength, we hear as a lower pitched noise. And as part of your Go Formative, there's a lot of activities that you can do and play around with that allows you to kind of explore this. This very first one, I want to just show you quickly because it really kind of helps you visualize it. You do have to adjust this so that you can see. But what it allows you to see is you have this kind of readout here, and then you have a piano, and you can play a note, and you can see how that changes the frequency with the high note. Sorry, it's really annoying sounds. But with the high note, you see it's a lot more waves. You can adjust the volume and see how that will affect the waves. All sorts of stuff to play with. And a lot of these have similar ones, including this last one, the virtual oscilloscope. This one will actually measure the sound waves that you're creating. So this is the sound waves of my voice right now. And if I talk lower, see how they're longer? And if I talk higher, see the difference? It's really fun. You can get real silly with it. I do put this note out there. Please don't annoy the other people in your house who are trying to work. Put headphones on or something, like, especially with the ones that make really obnoxious noises. I don't want angry emails from your adults. Thank you. They're fun, but they're annoying. Graph of the week, you know the drill. This is for Wednesday. And then Thursday, IXL, it's Waves 1, which is just going to help you practice those vocabulary words of wavelength and frequency and amplitude and compare different types of waves that way. We'll be talking more about this in office hours. So I will see you either Tuesday or Thursday, 1 p.m. for office hours. And if you have questions in the meantime, you're welcome to check in with me. Happy to answer emails or Google Classroom comments or any other way of getting in touch with me. Don't forget, we're trying to put together that talent show. So we would love to hear from you. I've had some really awesome submissions and I can't wait to see the rest of them. Please consider sending something in. It doesn't have to be a big production. It can be something short and sweet, but we would love to hear from you guys. Take a look at that document on the Cluster 1 Google Classroom for some suggestions of what you can be doing. Bye everybody, I'll see you later.